Hi everyone. So we're doing this live today to talk about the topic that I have announced, to talk about the effect of steroids on the body and how they work. Nice to see you all join. Hi, I'm picnicking with friends and I thought I'd make it back home, but it's so much fun that I've come back to my car to do this live. Coucou, so nice to see you all join. I hope you're all doing well. Hold on, let me put this back a bit. So today, so I've announced this topic and I will share this live on my page so you can watch it again. And this is a little bit, normally I do lives every Thursday. So it used to be Friday, but post-COVID, it's back to Thursday. I mean, because people are resuming normal lives and Fridays worked when we're all bored and home all the time, but now Fridays are getting busy again. But this is, I thought I would do a little bonus one to talk about steroids and the immune system and COVID-19 and the current treatments that are available. So as you might have seen in the news, corticosteroids have been hailed as a miracle treatment to help with COVID because steroids are anti-inflammatories. Corticosteroids reduce inflammation, and a lot of people who catch coronavirus, the complication comes from an inflammation located in the lung and a lack of an respiratory insufficiency. Sorry, I've had a glass of champagne. So people basically, they struggle to breathe and you give them steroids, a bit like when people have asthma, and it helps the breathing and it reduces the inflammation in the lungs. So the bottom line is COVID is a virus and it's linked to inflammation. Oh, there is some noise like it's raining. Yeah, it's the AC. Thank you for telling me. Let me shut it down. You know what I'll do? Sorry about that. I'll put these on. Thank you for the feedback. I'll put these on. Let me just see. Can you hear me better now? Is the sound cleaner? Can you hear me better now? Hold on. Let me just see. Can you please tell me if the sound is better? Elena's put some champagne glasses. Yes, I've had champagne in the sun, and so my brain's all over the place, but I'm here. So, basically, when you catch a virus, if you have inflammation going on in your body already, it makes it much harder for your body to fight it. Chronic inflammation, as I have explained in the past, is linked to death from non-communicable diseases, which means diseases that are not transmittable. And that's 78% of deaths worldwide. So 78% of deaths are linked to chronic inflammation, which is, my page is about lowering inflammation. And that's why it is relevant for everybody, even if you don't have health issues, because inflammation can create inflammation of the brain cells. You get anxiety, you get brain fog, you can't focus, you can have genes that are activated, like weaker genes, and I've spoken about this in the past, like cancer, heart attacks, Alzheimer's, anything that you can think of that is not transmittable. And a lot of people ask me, oh Yalda, I have this, is your plan good for me? A lot of things like dermatitis, psoriasis, where the condition ends in IS, means inflammation. But if you have a condition and you want to check, just Google it, see if it's linked to chronic inflammation, and generally it'll help. But if you have something that is communicable, i.e. that you can catch, that is transmissible, like a virus, if your body is already chronically inflamed, you have many more chances of having complications. And that's why we have noticed, unfortunately, that people dying from complications who people from dying from complications of COVID are people with underlying health issues. And the reason it makes it harder is because they have underlying chronic inflammation. So in the papers, they don't say underlying chronic inflammation because a lot of people don't understand what that is. Maybe the journalists don't even understand what that is. But the translation is, if you have underlying chronic inflammation, it makes it much harder to recover from it. And steroids are anti-inflammatory drugs, so they work really well at the beginning, and then they have side effects. And I know that because I suffer from an inflammation related condition, ulcerative colitis, and another one called autoimmune hemolytic anemia, and I have been put on steroids on and off a lot for years. And when you take steroids at the beginning, they're like a miracle cure. They really help lower those inflammation levels so much. So you feel a real, oh my God, amazing. For example, people with asthma, they'll take them at the beginning, amazing. People with colitis, the first course works so well. People with Crohn's, psoriasis, lupus, generally the first course you take works really well because you get a lot of the upside and not much of the downside. However, as time goes, you get more of the upside. And I was one of the people who suffered more of the downside, and I suffered from that. So some downside can be cataract on the eyes. I didn't have it, but you can have loss of bone density, and that happened to me. I broke 2 toes, I broke a wrist, and I broke 2 ribs because my bone density was so low. And it also depresses your immune system. And what happened is I caught a cold and I couldn't get rid of it, and I kept I caught the flu. Anyway, I was coughing, and I was coughing so much that actually ribs broke down, because steroids, they really empty your bones from the density, and your bones can break quicker. And last but not least, they create a lot of swelling around the body and weight gain, and they can interfere with the immune system. So when you're given the first course of steroids, at the beginning it works, but the second one you get less of the upside, more of the downside, and the more you take, the more it becomes like that, and it becomes a vicious circle. So truly what you want to do is keep healthy, keep your chronic inflammation levels low, so if you catch something, you recover from it quicker, and you're also at less risk of developing things that are not transmissible, like non-communicable diseases. Because what happens is we have genes in us, and they can be switched on or switched off with our lifestyle. So you hear oftentimes that the way your lifestyle changes your genes, it doesn't change them, it just switches them on or off. And if you have some faulty genes, with a good lifestyle, with a low inflammation lifestyle, you will switch them off and achieve better health. Last but not least, if you are someone who suffers from, an autoimmune disease or things where you use steroids on a regular basis, you truly want to get off them, so the day you need them, truly, they work. So you want to do as much as you can with the change in lifestyle, and leave the medication for when you truly need it, so they can save your life. It's a bit like antibiotics. If you take too many antibiotics, they don't work anymore. And that's why I suggest people to buy organic chicken, because non-organic chicken contains antibiotics, and then you end up absorbing them. And if one day you get a real bacterial infection in your body, you want those antibiotics to work. Something I haven't mentioned is steroids. They really mess up with your gut health, and they can increase candida and bring on thrush, and because they really unbalance your gut flora, a bit like antibiotics. So all these miracle treatments you see in the news, it's great because they're there to save your life if you get to that bad place. But what you want is to make sure to A, not to get to that bad place, and B, if you get to that bad place, for the medication to work for your system. And with that regards, you want to make sure to do everything in your power, which is improve your gut health, lower your chronic inflammation, in order to be in a state of health that's optimal given the cards you were given. Because we're all dealt a different hand of cards. And that's why what I share is not about being perfect or losing weight. It's about reaching optimal health with the gene set and the microbiome you were born with. Does this make sense? Please do ask questions, and I will be happy to answer them. And it's quite funny when you see, you know, Boris Johnson, and with all due respect, say, oh, we've just found a new miracle treatment. This has been around for years. It's not new, and we know to use these things to lower inflammation, but unfortunately it's not a miracle. There's no such thing as a free lunch when it comes to health, and that's why you want to take charge of your own health, and step by step, without too much pressure. For people who are on the plan, they say to me, oh my God, but I have a wedding coming up, I have this coming up. I mean, right now not much is coming up, and I always say it's about improving habits one at a time, over time. And if by the end of 12 months you've improved your habits, and the way I see habits is like a wall of bricks, and you have good choices, non-inflammatory choices versus inflammatory choices, and the low inflammation choices are green bricks, the inflammatory ones are red. As long as the wall, over time, there are more green bricks than red bricks, you're moving towards a good direction, and you will feel it. You will look better, you will feel better, you'll be more productive, you'll be happier, because 60% of your neurotransmitters are in your gut. Brain cells get inflamed, so you can also lower anxiety, improve depression with a low inflammation lifestyle. Someone's asking, Yalda, is water retention considered inflammation? So water retention is a sign of inflammation. So there are many signs of inflammation, like stiffness in the body, or being puffy, or having water retention around the body. Those are things that happen when you get inflamed. And the reason why we retain water is when we have histamine going on, and the body will start releasing cells that then draw water out of the bloodstream, the blood vessels, into fluid out of the blood vessels into the tissues. And by reducing inflammation, the water goes back into the blood vessels and then is excreted through urine. So when you have water around the body, it is a sign of inflammation. And I've had a lovely message, which I'll post after this, of a lady who has done the 6-week plan and followed the water retention guide, and all her swelling went down. But you need to do both. They complete each other. Nuri saying, I've just started your 7-day plan and I'm nervous. I'm a big sweet tooth person. So the 7-day plan is a bit harder than the 6-week plan. And please don't do it more than 7 days, because there's intermittent fasting. I've written an article on eatburnsleep.com explaining why I wouldn't advise it more than a week. And the 6-week plan is much easier and allows you to, implement it over the long run. So maybe do the 7-day plan and switch to the 6-week plan and keep those habits for the long run. But if you don't do it perfectly, don't worry, as long as you're improving those habits. Are there any more questions? Was I clear about the steroids, or do you want me to clarify it? Someone's saying the connection is bad. Can you tell me if the connection is okay? I can see that I have enough 4G here. Someone's saying, I suffer from nasal polyps. Are there natural remedies to resolve them? Yeah, so polyps can be linked to that, and they can be linked to allergies, and also things that you're intolerant to that you might be having. So I get asked a lot about, so you're on corticosteroids to reduce inflammation. So for sure, lowering your inflammation in the body will lower the polyps in your nose and in the sinuses. And also because you might be having a lot of foods that you are intolerant to. And the way the plan works is It removes the big culprits, and then you can refine it because you get to know your body better and you start seeing what suits you better and which things like your body does not agree on. And I take you through that process with a Facebook group where I support you and I explain to you exactly how to tune in into your body. And a lot of people ask me, oh, I've done this allergy test, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. A lot of those allergy tests, I've spent a lot of money on them. What they do is they pick up, oftentimes it's because you have leaky gut and some particles of food go in your system. You produce NK cells because the body sees it as a foreign pathogen. But the issue is not necessarily the food, but can be your leaky gut, which by improving